everyone. Welcome to Elemental Flows. My name is Christina, and thank you for joining me in today's practice. Today, I have a quick stretch prepared for you. So, this is a great flow to do if you're looking to open up at different spaces of your body and just get some movement in, but don't necessarily have too much time. So let's get right into it. We're going to start today in a child's pose. So you could take a closed-legged version with the knees together, or if you like, you can bring your knees apart. Just make sure the big toes are together. Then walk the hands forward on the mat and rest the forehead on the mat. And let's just take a deep breath here together to settle into this practice. So on an inhale, breathe in through the nostrils and exhale out through the mouth. Take a moment just to notice what you're feeling in your body today. Notice where you may be holding any tension or strain and breathe into them. Now we'll stay in our child's pose. We're just going to walk our hands over to the left so that they come off of the mat, so that the arms are on a 45-degree angle, and you should feel this stretch in your right side body. And just breathe into the spaces. And again, notice where you're holding tension and try to relax those areas. And we'll walk our hands over to the right while still remaining in this child's pose. And you should feel the stretch all the way from your left hip bone or IT band, all the way out through the shoulder blade. And it may even extend into your fingertips. Walk the hands back to a neutral child's pose. And then we're going to walk the hands towards us so we could come up into a neutral tabletop position. So have your shoulders over the wrist, your hips are over the knees here. And then we'll take our left foot back towards the back of the room and just do some heel presses. So think about sending that left heel towards the back of the mat. Now we'll take that left foot over to the right side so it comes off of the mat, and then we'll turn towards the right so that we're looking at our left foot on the right side. Now let's take that left foot over to the left side again. This time we're going to bring it around so that it's beside us essentially. And then you can add some additional movement here back and forth so that you can feel a bit of a stretch on that inner left thigh. Let's take that left foot back to our tabletop position and we'll repeat those poses on the other side. So first we start by taking that right foot back and doing some heel presses to the back of the room. Now let's take that right foot over to the left side and we look over on the left side to look at our right foot. Now let's take that right foot over to the right side so that it's out beside us, and then add some movement just going back and forth. Now let's take that right foot back in. We're going to walk our hands forward so that we come into a puppy position here. So we rest the forehead on the mat, engage the core here. And you should feel an opening in your shoulders. If you want to intensify the stretch a bit, you could come up onto your fingertips here. Just try to engage the core so that you're not overarching the spine. From here, let's bring ourselves forward so that we come to lie down on our stomachs on the mat. And you can take both your hands to the top of the mat, rest one on top of the other, and then rest your forehead on top of your hands. From here, let's take that left knee out to the side so that it's on a 90-degree angle. Again, notice where there's tension and then just try to breathe into the spaces and allow them to relax. Now let's lift that left foot so that it comes into the sky. Doesn't matter how high it goes. And then bring that foot gently back down. We're now going to move our left leg so we can bring it back to our right. Bend the knee and then bring that left foot over so that it comes to the right side off of the mat. And you can use a block here and place it underneath that left foot so that you could bring the floor a bit closer to you. Or if you like, you can keep your leg in the sky here. Do whatever feels most comfortable in your body today. Bring that leg back around and we'll repeat that on the other side. So we start by taking that right knee out to the side at a 90-degree angle. Now let's lift that foot into the sky. And then drop the foot. Let's bring that right leg back to meet the left. Then we bend the right knee and twist over to the left side. And again, the foot can come down onto the mat or on a block, or you can leave it hanging in the air. And come back around. From here, we'll bring our hands on either side of our chest and we'll do some baby cobras. So let's begin just by lifting our chest off of the mat on an inhale. You don't have to go that high here. And then exhale, we release. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, let's lift up. See if you can go a little bit higher this time. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Now bring the inner thighs together. We'll send our arms back, the palms face upwards towards the ceiling. And on an inhale this time, let's lift our chest and knees off of the mat and hold this pose for a moment. And then release back down to the mat. Let's take our hands forward once again, and then we're going to come up onto our forearms on the mat. So we come into our Sphinx pose here. So our elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. We open up the chest and our gaze is neutral, looking forward. From here, let's release the chest back down. We're now going to press into our hands and tuck the toes so that we can lift ourselves off of the mat and come into our first downward dog of the practice. So find some movement here just to open up the body. Get into any areas that might be holding a bit of tension right now. And then come to find stillness in this posture. Let's take that right heel up into the sky. Hips are square here to start. And then on an exhale, we'll bend the knee to open up the hip. On an inhale, let's lift that leg and straighten the right leg back into the sky. And on an exhale, we'll bring that knee into the chest. Hold it for a breath here. And then let's send that right leg back up into the sky. Look for height here. And then drop that right foot down to the mat. Let's repeat on the other side. So we begin by lifting the left heel off of the mat. Now let's bend the knee to open up the hip. Try and keep your shoulders square here. Now let's straighten that left leg into the sky once more. And now on our exhale, we'll bend the knee into the chest and hold it here in plank. Then send that leg back up to three-legged dog and release that foot back down. Now let's look forward towards the top of the mat. And we'll walk the feet towards the hands. On an inhale, we'll take the hands to the shins to come up to a flat back. Exhale, we release, chest comes closer to the thighs here. Now let's make sure that the big toes are together. We'll take a deep bend in the knees here and swing the arms forward and up to come into our chair pose. Hold it here for a breath. And then see if you could transfer the weight over to your right leg or right foot so you can lift that left foot off of the mat for just a moment. Then send that left foot towards the back of the mat to come into your high lunge. Hold this for a breath here. Make sure your right knee is directly over your ankle. Both legs are engaged here. Now let's gently lower that left knee onto the mat to come into our lunge. So while we're here, we're thinking about sending the hips forward to try and deepen the stretch and keep the shoulders away from the ears here while lifting out through the crown of the head. Now we'll bring our right arm down. You can use a block for stability here if you like, but then we'll send that left arm towards the back of the mat to come into a reverse lunge. Now let's take that left arm forward again. We place that left hand down on the mat as we bring the right arm into the sky this time. Let's open up the chest to the right side here. And now we'll bend that left knee and reach around with the right hand towards the back of the mat. Hold it here if you can't reach the foot, but if you can, grab hold of the foot. And again, we're still twisting from the torso, opening up the chest to the right side, and press the foot into your right hand to intensify the stretch. Now let's gently release the foot. We'll tuck the toes of the back foot so we can lift that left knee off of the mat and then reach that right arm once again into the sky. Now let's take that right hand down, place it on the inside of that right foot, and then we'll walk the right foot over to the edge of the mat to come into our lizard. So you could take any variation that feels good in your body today. So you could lower the knee if you like, or you could come onto your forearms or use a block to come onto your forearms here. Just do whatever variation your body's calling for today. And from here, come back onto your hands if you were on your forearms. Lift the back knee if you had it drop to the floor. We'll press into the hands so we can lift that right foot and send it towards the back of the mat and go through our vinyasa. You can go to your knees if you like here, but let's bend at the elbows to lower ourselves down. Slide the chest forward and up to upward facing dog or cobra. Release the chest, tuck the toes, press into the hands to come back up into your downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Then we'll look towards the top of the mat once again and walk the feet towards the hands. On an inhale, let's press the hands into the shins to come up to a flat back. Exhale, we release the chest in a forward fold. Let's bring the big toes together here. And then on an inhale, we'll take a deep bend in the knees as we swing the arms forward and up to come into our child's pose. Hold it for a breath here. Gaze is looking forward, or down, I should say. It's neutral, so it's kind of on an angle. Keep the core engaged. And then let's transfer the weight over to the left foot and see if you can lift the right foot and hold it just for a moment before sending that foot towards the back of the mat to come into your high lunge. Still think about lifting out through the crown of the head here and out through the fingertips. Now let's gently lower that right knee down to the mat to come into our high or low lunge. Think about sending the hips forward. And from here, we'll drop that left hand down. Again, you could use a mat for support if you need. We'll take that right hand towards the back of the mat. Still think about sending the hips forward in this position, even though you're directing the energy of your upper body towards the back. Bring that right hand back down around. Place it on the mat as we lift that left arm into the sky for a twist. Now let's send that left arm towards the back. As we do so, we bend that right knee, grab hold of the foot if you can reach, and then hold it here. Press the foot into the hand if you have hold of it, and continue sending the hips forward and down. Gently release that back foot. We'll tuck the toes of the foot so we can lift the knee off of the mat and then bring that left arm into the sky. Continue to maintain the twist. Think about opening up the chest to the left. Good. Now from here, let's take that left hand, bring it on the inside of the left foot, and we'll take the left foot, walk it over to the edge of the mat. Find whatever variation of lizard that you want for your left side. Come back onto your hands if you were on your forearms. Lift the back knee up if you had dropped it to the mat. We'll press into the hands so we can send that left foot towards the back of the mat and then go through our vinyasa. So bend at the elbows to lower yourself down. Slide the chest forward and up for upward facing dog or cobra. Release the chest back down, tuck the toes, and go back into your downward facing dog. Good work, everyone. Just have a couple more poses left here. So let's look towards the top of the mat, walk the feet towards the hands. And now from here, we're going to walk the feet out so that they're hip width distance apart. Then we'll turn the toes outwards on a 45-degree angle, and then bend the knees and start to slowly lower your hips down to the mat. So we're coming into our garland pose. So if you want, you could take a block and place it underneath you to rest on if you want the additional support. We have our elbows on our inner thighs and we're using them to push the thighs or the knees out a little bit more. Take a couple of breaths here. Make sure you're keeping the spine long and still reaching out through the crown of the head here while opening up the chest. Let's drop our hands down to the mat, remove the block if you had one, and we'll start to slowly straighten the legs as we lift the hips up towards the sky. Turn the toes inwards so that they face the top of the mat. And let's take this final pose here just to hang heavy. So allow your lower back to release. Allow the head to feel heavy. If it feels good to you, you could sway side to side or grab hold of your elbows here. And now let's ground through the feet. Release the hands if you were grabbing your fore or now let's release the hands if you were holding onto your elbows. Ground through the feet and we'll slowly begin to roll ourselves back up into our mountain pose. Let's take one final breath here. On an inhale, we'll reach the arms up overhead. Press palms together, and on an exhale, bring them down through heart center. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that little flow. Keep me posted how it was for you in the comments, but otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your days and hope to see you at the next one. Bye for now.